we have a deep fascination for labels. We use labels to make people perceive us in a certain way. Labels are good, but necessary. Labels are only good if they're the truth. If they're not the truth, then they're wrong. So if you put a label on yourself and that's not who you are, and somebody hires you to do something based on the label you've put on yourself, then you're a fraud. No? We don't agree? Human-centered design is a creative approach to problem solving, one that starts with people and ends with innovative solution tailored to meet people's needs. So at the end of the day, the entire thing about human-centered design is to make sure that whatever you design as a creative person or as a designer is to meet people's needs. At the simplest form is to meet people's needs. That's what it essentially is. So designers are not meant to solve problems. They're meant to solve problems and make things work. That's what designers are meant to do. Not make things beautiful or pretty in a sense or fine, because we're not artists. None of us are Da Vinci. We are here to solve problems. For example, to make sure that people can walk through a particular door, right? Or people can see a particular design, when they're driving past, with speed. So I'll tell you, story about myself. So my early stage of design, I was pretty young, and I got this big break. Client told me, hey, they're going to design something for an event. It was multi-platforms like social media, Facebook, Instagram, and all these other platforms, and then print and billboard. This was my first big break. It was like 50,000 naira big break. It was big money at that time. So I started designing this project, finished everything, they paid me the money. I spent the money the following day because I went to Spa and went and chopped all the money, and everything was done. And a few days later, I spoke to the client over the phone. And I think we had a conversation. I think they called me. It's like, so we need to do this edit and this edit. I was like, why? And they said, oh, because, the thing is not selling. Nobody has bought tickets for the event. I said, I don't understand. I took my time to design this thing. It's so beautiful. I used, Photoshop and designed it. And I realized when I went back to the drawing board that I had failed. I didn't do due diligence to making sure that I used the right colors, the right fonts, in the right proportion. And so it's critical that designers take into consideration the impact of things we create on people, the good, the bad, the ugly. We must care about craft and detail, but must also embrace the possibility and the outcome of what we do as designers. So you're designing something for a billboard, for example, you need to consider that people will be driving past that billboard and they'll be driving at a certain kind of speed. If they are trying to read what you wrote there and somebody took his face and was like, he wants to read it, the next thing, accident, and then he breaks his leg, and he's like this guy who's sitting in a wheelchair, what happens? Who do they blame? He wasn't driving. Or he wasn't driving well, they'll blame his village people. Which one? Meanwhile, it was one designer that refused to do due diligence. That if you had just taken your time to research and put the right fonts and put it in the right proportion, he would have saved that guy's life. For example, they made a black advert that was going out for Guinness at the time. It was just made of black only. But we need to understand that design is a continuous conversation. It's not a one-stop shop. It's a journey. So you don't end the conversation on the billboard alone. You start there and end somewhere else. So you can't put, church address, your father's name, your mother's name, all on the billboard. You have to make sure that the conversation continues all the way. So fast forward to, 2 years after that particular incident, I got another gig. However, this time, I asked the client to let me do the job myself, and I didn't charge them for the project. So that gave me full creative control. I, took the following steps after learning what exactly human-centered design really was. And these were the few steps I took. So first off, number one was, I did an experiment. I called it, so the program name of the event was called Scoops. And then these were the steps I took to make sure that that worked out. Number one, I defined and understood what the problem was that I was trying to solve. So the client wanted to have people come for his event. His name is Emeka Nobis. I know he's quite famous in Port Harcourt. He wanted to have people come for his event. That was the problem. How do I sell scoops to people to make sure that they come for his event, right? So I needed to define and understand what the problem was. Second thing I did, I started to form the idea, and then think about it. What do I go? What's the direction do I go? I needed to understand. So I went ahead to understand ice cream, flavors. I understood why the ice cream were colored in a certain way, why we were excited when we heard the word ice cream, why when we take ice cream there's a certain thing that happens to us as human beings, and as children and as adults. So I understood all these things and then started to weave those things into what will eventually come out as my design. That was the second thing. And then the third thing was to create the solution, right? So I started to design the flyer and the ad. Think about the right font to use, right colors. The colors had to be ice cream colors anyway. And I put all these things together, I figured it out and say, hey, this works best, this doesn't work best. Remove this color, it has to be on this background, it has to be on this kind of thing, and put all that together. Then the fourth thing I did was to test it and make corrections. So I put it, on a Facebook, backdrop and see what exactly it will look like. The things we call mock-up. For designers, you know what mock-ups are. So I put it there to see how it will look like, and then stayed there with my laptop to see if I could see clearly, and saw the word scoop. And I did all that, sent it to the client, asked what they thought. He saw it immediately and said he loved it. I was like, yes, finally. And then we launched it out. That's what it was. I think I found out on this guy anyway, but that's not for upward deliberation. But this is what the flyer was. So these colors were ice cream colors, it says white, all this kind of things. Quite simple. So I went further to understand what exactly this thing really meant. I went to the event to get immediate feedback from people to say, hey, look, I needed to understand what exactly people felt about this particular flyer and ad. People said they thought they were expecting a sweet experience. Some people said, oh, they expected that they were going to get ice cream. But I was so glad that they didn't put like ice cream cones on there, because one of the things we have to understand as designers is that we are very powerful. So therefore, things we do have implications. And then it can either be false or it can either be the truth. So we need to make sure that we do due diligence in research and make sure we don't tell lies when we're doing stuff. Some clients would come to you and say, hey, we want you to Photoshop this particular picture this way, to make it look this kind of particular way, to put this particular font there, put this particular thing there in this way, and then you say, you have to get to the point where you can say no. Because you have to draw the line between collecting money, right, and paying your bills and doing due diligence in your work. Yes, I have collected money so many times. It's just recently that I started to do due diligence. But I've gotten to the point where I can say no to lots of projects just because I want to do due diligence and the clients won't let me do due diligence. After this project, I started to apply human-centered design, theory that I had personalized into my designs, and then this was some of the results. The next one also shows another result of what I had done, taking into consideration all the different steps of human-centered design. So before I go, here's my living thoughts. Designers must also care about the truth. So you must care enough to make sure that you tell the truth in everything you do. It's our duty to apply design principles to objects, to projects, and to services, but it's also our duty to educate our clients on what exactly design, human-centered design as an idea really means and how you can apply it to design. Because if you don't educate your clients, they won't know, and at the end of the day, you dish out something that is wrong and that is false and that's not the truth. You must also remember that all of us as designers and as industry leaders have a broad responsibility to ensure that technology is built and deployed in service of humanity and not the other way around. The things we create as designers must support, collaborate with people in achieving their goals and not helping them do otherwise. That right there is my TED Talk. Welcome.